So another question, and you've already pointed out how important reading is when it comes to writing. But specifically speaking of reading, there's a question about what would you like to say to those who don't see reading as an important part of life or are trying to make it an important part of their lives?
I think, well, I grew up on the classics, on the Western classics mostly, and and also then on the contemporary authors of that period, the period that is my school days and after. And I still read a lot, as I mentioned. I'll read 2 or 3 books a week, but now I read mostly for pleasure. I'm not reading in order to get ideas or to study or to know what's selling in the market. I'm just reading for pleasure. So I'll read the kind of books I like. It might be a biography or memoirs, or it might be a travel, or it could be history, or not much fiction, although I do enjoy reading the odd crime novel or detective story. So I'd read something of everything, and in the morning I get 4 newspapers. I'm still a newspaper addict. So I'll before I have breakfast, I'll read the newspapers quite thoroughly. I mean, I'll go do the front page, the sports page, the edit page, and anything else that's of interest. So I'm really I suppose it's a habit that goes back over the years. Now, most people would switch on the television morning or evening to get up to date. And of course, television would bring you the news faster, but not always in the same detail, maybe. And it would often overlook small events, because after all, television, being most of it live, it can't cover everything or be everywhere. Whereas perhaps a newspaper you'll find things there that you won't find maybe on the screen. So the newspaper is important. And then, of course, I'm nostalgic. I grew up writing for newspapers. So I'm loyal to them still. And it's in the evening that I'll read for pleasure. And, of course, in between I'll be writing. And when I'm not reading or writing, I'm having a siesta. I love sleeping. You see, I'm not... now that I'm 90, I do feel at times old and tired and sleepy, because after all, I'm not standing for election anywhere, so I don't have to be try and look alert and sort of in charge of everything.
Oh, you haven't given that a thought?
Pardon? No, I don't. I guess, no, I've never wanted to get into politics.
Why is that?
Though I follow what's going on.
Yeah.
I do follow everything, but I'm not a political person. I I adapt myself usually to the world around me and whatever's happening. So there it is. Growing old has been a gradual. It's not been unpleasant in any way. Again, I'll say I'm lucky in that way. I don't suppose growing old is pleasant for everybody, but it's true. I don't see very well now, but what I do see has maybe more significance than when I could see better, and I can't go for long walks or treks or hikes now, but I can still stagger about and I can still go to a restaurant and have a nice lunch. That's important. I have a good appetite, which is something I'm grateful for. And let's see. So I can't really grumble. or be grumpy, as sometimes I might occasionally feel a bit grumpy, but if it doesn't stop raining or if it gets, or for little things. But by and large, I think my adopted family, there's Rakesh and Beena and the 3 grown-up kids, they all look after me wonderfully and spoil me. So I don't have to do much for myself except read and write and eat and sleep and go out for an occasional drive and be happy. And now and then, things go wrong. I ended up 3 or 4 months back in the ICU of a big hospital, but it was an interesting experience. You have to learn to maybe, as a writer, write about everything. Because I'm that kind of writer, so I'll write about being well, about being sick, and about my thoughts as while I'm lying in a hospital bed wondering if I'm going to get better or not. So I do think of the hereafter, but I don't let it worry me too much because it's going to come anyway. And so I think I've been lucky in that as I've gone older, I've become a fairly philosophical type. I'm not a religious person, but I might occasionally send up a prayer to the great librarian or whoever's looking after us, and take it as it comes. I think one must be grateful for the gift of life and for all the gifts it can bring.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.